One and two and 1, 2, 3. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the show. 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 Welcome to the show. This is what we do after we do the live kids show, and this is fun for us. Today, this week was strange. Usually we have everything, or we've been doing a better job of having everything planned out for each week, but there was a slight change of schedule for this season. Freddy's not available on Wednesdays. I've been trying to have guests. I couldn't secure a guest for yesterday, so I had to go solo. And we had to be a little bit more spontaneous today than we've wanted to be. But today we tackled 2-part harmony using Skip to My Lou as the vehicle. Right?
Correct so far.
And and we went back to our Harmony Hotel, which is the tool we use to explain to explain what harmony is, to explain what melody is.
Give orientation.
Yeah, just to plant the seed. We don't expect, at least I don't know about you, I don't expect people to fully understand what we're doing. I look at us like farmers. We're planting seeds. And everybody learns at their own pace, especially children. And hopefully they grow with repetition as we keep watering them.
I mean, there are two things. Of course, there are more ways, but 2 essential ways to learn a song, and this is explaining it or practicing it. Just inviting people and sing it in a choir. That's the best way how to learn a song with different harmonies. Not explaining what's going to happen on a theoretical level, but just sharing the experience and sharing it as a group live and circle sing it, change harmonies. When you feel it, you don't have to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of first-class musicians, singers out there who never get to learn this. So this is very isolated and cognitive stuff for yourself. So my goal is always, like, since this is a kids show through the camera, to keep the illusion and see the lesson as a group experience, although we are just sitting in front of the camera.
Right.
Sometimes it feels a little lonely, but not with our group, because they're very engaged. They're very engaged. They always show up. They're always interactive, which is so cool. So thanks for everybody who's tuning in almost every day, I gotta say. Yeah. Like, they're very, very, yeah.
We got a nice loyal audience. We had our friends from Poland come back, which was great to see them again. They fell off a little bit after the break, but it's cool. Today we used a song called Skip to My Lou.
Yeah.
And which was a pretty good one to use because there are not a lot of words, and the harmony that we do itself is fairly simple. It's 3 chords, and it goes like this: skip, skip, skip to my Lou, skip, skip, skip to my Lou, skip, skip, skip to my Lou, skip to my Lou, my darling. And we use this to map each of our parts, okay?
Yeah.
Pointing to them, which I thought was, again, it's not easy to see because, it's impossible to see. We're not there on the other end of it. So the best we can do is repeat and invite them to participate at home. So for my part, for example, when we go to skip to my Lou, we're in G. G, do, re, mi, skip to my Lou, mi, do, mi, do. So, excuse me, mi, do, mi, so. And then Freddy, he's doing a third above me, and for his last note, he instead of going to the T, he goes to do. So you do, what do you do? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, mi, so, do.
That's right.
So we did each of those parts on a loop, right? And had them sing with me for a while, so had them sing with me for a while, hopefully lock in. Same thing with Freddy, hopefully lock in. And then what we had them do, or what we tried to have them do, is say, listen, now's the hard part. Pick one of us. Pick a part, right?
Yeah.
And try to follow along. Because, and I am not, a very experienced harmony singer, but that can drive your brain batty, right? Like if you are, it's what I call paralysis by analysis. and the story that I always, this is what happens to like a lot of my students when they're trying to think about what they're going to say while listening at the same time and constructing the grammar and doing the translator in their head.
Yeah.
If you think about a centipede, right? There's this story my brother used to tell. There's a centipede and it's walking through the forest, and along comes a butterfly and says, "Hey, centipede." He says, "Yeah, you got all those legs, right?" Centipede says, "Yeah." Centipede, and the butterfly goes, "Well, how do you walk with all those legs? How do you keep everything straight?" And the centipede's walking and he's thinking about it and starts slowing down and then starts to think about each one of his 100 legs individually. And then he stops, just stops, because now instead of just walking, his brain is split into 100 different pieces thinking about each one of the legs. And that's what happens a lot of time when people are learning a language. They're translating the words, they're thinking of the grammar structure, the embarrassment of making mistakes, all that stuff stops them from doing anything.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, I think that can tend to happen as well. And when you're singing it and you're hearing the different parts,
Yeah.
while trying to stick to one that is not the melody you're used to singing, it can be very difficult. Ooh, that was lucky. Freddie's going to say something while I get my battery pack.
So this is a good example. I really like it because I experience it the same way in a group. So you have uneducated people around you and you like to teach them harmony singing. So it, like instead of practicing, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of explaining it over and over again, doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing than if a scientist would explain me how a rocket starts, like in with every detail, and I'd be like, all right, I see the rocket, I see it goes up, that's it. I'm not interested in these tiny details. I want to experience it. So the group has, like, working with groups, the group has like a lot of force, a lot of power to really suck you in that experience as an individual. So you don't have to think about it. Just try, be lucky instead of sad when you do a mistake. Like we didn't do it perfectly fine. Sometimes I couldn't find my tone. Sometimes he was a little shaky.
No, I was perfect.
And yeah, for sure. Okay, so I was the only one who was kind of.
It was just you.
But you know, the thing is, just go on. Do not think about why you did something wrong or how embarrassing it was. Just go with the flow. Don't think about it. Just shut off. Not shut off your brain. That'd be wrong. But you know, don't you worry about any mistakes you're gonna do. And it's a big challenge for kids as well, because a lot of times they're imitate stuff, but once another section of the group does something else rhythmically or melodically or harmony wise, it's hard to really hold that moment of hearable difference.
Right.
It's so hard, and that's why canon is so inviting for kids, because they're imitating it. They're imitating it not on the spot. It's just an echo thing. That's why it's easier as an introduction for like parallel harmonies. You know, echo is the same shtick. Like every section, every kid does or sings a different section, but just delayed. But it can hear what was happening before and afterwards. So the pod is more defined. With that, it's always hard because you technically do the same thing. We sang the same words, but not the same notes.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big difference. That's why echo games or canons are mostly easier, because it's an echo. Like that, I can't explain it too much, but it's a lot easier for kids than just hear and experience and execute another harmony. It's alien-like.
Well, I mean, canon is messing with timing. That's all it is. I'm sure it can get more complicated if you wanted it to be, but this is, I mean, it's two different things happening at the same time instead of the same thing happening a little bit later, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to process, because now you're in a multiple dimension scenario.
Yeah, but once these dimensions lock in together, there's this big eureka moment where the kid goes, I had that scenario just once out of like 20 scenarios, where a kid goes, oh, I heard that my voice locked in with the rest of the stuff that was going on.
Uh-huh.
And this is a huge thing, when you feel that it's locking in with the rest. Same with the canon. It locks in. It creates that kind of like whirlpool kind of thing, and such a great experience. And you know, it's not about perfection. It's not about now I am able to execute that. It's about the experience you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because for most of the kids, this is completely new.
Yeah.
It's like a scientist for us would explain how rocket science works, and we'd be like, oh damn, wow, didn't think about that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of presentation and of,
But
you know,
mostly
sharing the excitement,
but mostly feeling it. Like,
Yeah.
Like if you don't, you know, if there's a mountain trail, right, and we're walking up it, and I just spend the whole time explaining to you how to walk up a mountain together,
yeah,
right? You'll be aware of it, but until you have to get the footing, right?
Yeah.
Get comfortable with it. You're not going to be able to do it. Like you have to, you know, that I think that's the beauty of this particular harmony that we chose, is that it's basically, it's as simple as it can get. It's falling on the first, the third, and the fifth note. At least mine, for the most part, is falling on the first, third, and the fifth notes, or within these five notes, with one exception where we're down into the T.
yeah.
And you're for the most part mirroring it on top. There are subtle differences. I like those differences. They make it beautiful. But I think that, you know, when things are parallel.
Yeah.
Well, this is why. See, Freddie and I, before we did this, we wanted to do, or I asked Freddie if he could do some graphic notation using basically very rough looking notes, but one color for my note and one color for the kids' notes. Because how do you visually explain two different things that are happening at the same time? I'm sure there are a lot of ways to do it, but in this case, we're doing it on that's the y-axis, right? I was bad at math. We're doing it up and down,
vertical,
on the y-axis. But if you're doing notation, like musical notations, it's on the x-axis. But to me, the x-axis, if you're explaining things in those regards, work better for explaining things over time, right? Like in my brain, at least. Okay. So I wanted Freddy to do my melody and a set of one color dots, and then his melody at the same time over it. But that can also get tricky, right?
I mean, the only thing, and we weren't explaining it, and that could, you know, I get your point.
You see what I mean?
Let me think about it for a second. Like the graphic notation would have been the same because the jumps that we do within wherever we are is basically the same.
But they would have been offset.
They would have been offset, but if you would like blend them together, it would have been the same movements.
That's the move next time, because that's basically what we did with the canon.
Yes.
That's what we do next time.
And you know, the starting point is different because it was great. Like this picture is cool because we highlighted the notes, and Skip to My Lou is do mi so do. It's just that game. And for the D chord, which is the 5 chord, we do the exact same thing, but we just shift down.
Right.
So these are the G chords, and then for the D chord, we just shift down here. So this is the D's do re mi, but the G's ti re fa. And like at first we were explaining like we're using all the do re mi's for every chord, but for this one, the orientation stays at the G. So we didn't have like 3 harmony hotels, like a C, a G, and a D harmony hotel. So basically what happens is it just shifts down. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Like mi, do, mi, so, re, ti, basement. That was a clever idea. Re, ti, re, fa. Cha, 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 cha. So we always think in thirds. Like when, for example, my friend Joe, he's a leader of a choir band, and her job is, she's a leader of a choir band, and her job is to when she writes music for a choir, and these are like not amateurs is a very strong word, but like beginners, they're just executing by imitating and nobody can read notes, So her goal is to write down the notes for every section, so it's easy to hear and tell it apart from the other sections. And this is like, we call it a block movement,
right?
Because it just shifts,
right?
It doesn't go like that. We didn't cross any note at all.
Yeah.
Like the last thing I did was skip to my room, my darling. That was a sissy thing. Like I could continue with the block.
Right.
But as you said, it's the artist's choice to like give it some spice. I just break through and did this descending thing at the end. But for beginners, it's always nice to sing in blocks, because then your part. Right. It's easier to hear the other one's part.
Well, if you know your part, then basically you know everybody's part. It's just a matter of shifting it.
Yes.
Right.
And that's basically how all the registers are like.
Right.
Wrote down, like soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone, bass.
Right.
See it as a block, and it goes. It goes like that. Yeah. Like for advanced stuff, it'll go sometimes like that.
Right.
Sometimes unisono as well.
Well, I mean, Michael.
It's always an artist's choice.
Well, this is interesting because we also both occasionally work with a friend of ours named Michael Sappington.
That's right.
Who is a very, very beautiful singer.
I like his voice.
Oh, it's pure. It's just pristine. He's got one of those. He's literally the opposite of the way I sing. He's clean and pristine. He also has a very good foundation of theoretical knowledge, which I don't. And he's got a very good understanding of bluegrass music, which leans heavily on harmonies. Like it's deep, deep, deep into harmonies. And he's very good at explaining that. And Mike has a very systematic way of doing it. But the rule that he has is that you never cross harmonies. That's his main thing. That's where you get into danger zone.
No counterpoint. Right? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't know enough about harmonies to know how you can execute that or not.
That's all right.
But I learned a lot from him. And the other thing we tried to execute today is basically finding that. Now, Mike, for example, when Michael doesn't do the Harmony Hotel, but what he does and what he tells me to do is find the melody line. So in this case,
and play it, you mean?
Dang.
Yeah.
Right? So that way you sort of find it, and when you know that allows you to jump to the next step, which whatever you think the next harmony. So if I know that's my bass, la 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 la, right?
You sing now. You sing what I sang,
right?
And you play what you sang,
right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm singing second part harmony to what I'm playing, which is the first part
Very
harmony.
clever.
And that's the way my friend Michael does it. There are so many different ways to execute on this. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I want to, on a very personal level, it's something I want to master, just because to me, there is nothing like physically being present in a room where harmony is taking place. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like even thinking about having,
You should check out a warm-up exercise from the Eagles. They have a ritual before every gig. They're come together very closely. Somebody sings a droning note and just holds it, and everybody just finds his place, and it's so amazing. Nobody's talking for 10 minutes, and I mean, they're doing it for I don't know how many years now. But it's so cool because it feels so natural. Nobody's explaining anything. They just come together, they warm it up, and it's marvelous, really. Like how they're doing it, how they feel each other. It's wow. It's magic, really. It's magic. It's like it's so perfect. Like imagine 5 people singing so perfectly in tune that you actually hear a 6th note that is not there. It's brilliant. Like check it out. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube,
but I'm sure if somebody just types in Eagles warm up,
like Eagles warm up, check it out. It's incredible. And same with Joni Mitchell. I don't know about your thoughts about Joni Mitchell, but she's like my favorite in terms of harmony singing. Like she nails it so much, like so well. It's I can listen to her like all the time. I love it.
We should pick a Joni song and an Emmylou Harris song.
Whatever. I'm cool with it.
Well, today was I really enjoyed it today. I thought, after watching yesterday and doing the solo show, it's really weird to watch yourself on camera. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, we did it together.
Oh
today.
Man,
it feels like you're naked,
it's
right?
It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know.
But learning more about effectively, or what I think effectively carrying on live stream would be. Yesterday, I felt like I was talking way too much, or just not moving the ball down the field. I think it's really important. Always move the ball down the field. I think we did a good job with that today.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow's lesson. So, folks, have a good one. We gotta peace out.
Thanks for tuning in.
See
like,
ya.
how many people? One? It was 3
And
before?
one, I don't know.
Like, it's always feel free to type stuff in. Like, we keep on like looking at the stream, if looking at the screen, if you have like any questions. We have a digital tip jar for everything that we're doing. We're doing kids shows. We're like Guy is working with another musician every Wednesday, like talking about stuff, doing a kids show, sharing experience. And we're doing a concert every Friday and Sunday. So if you're up for, some live music, then just join in and have some fun. And anything else to say?
I think that's it, man.
All right.
I think we're good. So y'all have
I'm
yourselves-
getting better at this. I like
You
it.
really are.
All right.
All right, nice and we're gonna do nice
Nice,
back
easy.
and slow.
Goodbye.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll see you next time. I said goodbye.
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 See you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll see you next time. Peace. Have a good one, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.